Alright guys, it's time once again for the I Heart You King of the Hill. I'm Doa, that's Artosis, of course, and today our Korean King of the Hill, Tranzit, is going to try to make it 2 in a row against Don't Kick My Robot's Brad. So yeah, Tranzit last week taking out Savitz. I'd say pretty cool, a little bit of an upset, and now we'll see how long he can stick around.
I hope his nerves are a little bit better this time. We did agree that he seemed a bit nervous in the last King of the Hill.
I talked to him after the match as well, too. I know for a fact he was so nervous. Like, this kid, I mean, all the Korean players here really think highly of Savitz. You know, he came to Korea, he won that big tournament, so he's like one of the players that they know as being really good. So playing against him and then like starting to win and then beating him, it was all like a high nerve situation. But I've got a feeling he probably calmed down this week, I would imagine.
Well, I do hope so, and we can maybe see some really strong plays out of him. Of course, his opponent, probably someone he doesn't know that well, Brad, but Brad is really good, and you know, his team, Don't Kick My Robot, has like some of the coolest decks and just a really solid lineup of players at all times.
Well, Don't Kick My Robot is really like a house of innovation in Hearthstone. You know, they've been so prolific in terms of putting out deck guides, in terms of kind of pushing the envelope as far as the meta and strategy is concerned. So I'm actually like really excited to have one of their players in the King of the Hill. It's a team that I've watched for a long time, and like you said, yeah, the decks they make are really good. The players are all generally very smart and very talented. So it's going to be, I think, a really good match.
It should be. Let's take a look at these decks and try to figure out who's going to be favored here. Looks like we do have a Zoo-type deck here from Tranzit. Looks pretty similar to what he used the week before.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a zoo that like everybody's running, at least in Korea right now, and it's pretty similar to the zoo that everybody is running pretty much everywhere. And I mean, keep in mind too that this series, of course, was right before the current week of Nax came out, so you know, no Stalag or anything like that, no Thaddeus, but it does have all the other weeks of cards. So I mean, up to that point, this is kind of the zoo you would see. You know, you've got the eggs, you've got the Void Terrors added in there. Pretty cool stuff. But now you and I were talking about this, and you were thinking that Argent Squire wasn't great anymore in this deck.
You know, the more I see it, I mean, maybe in this week's deck, but I've seen some of these new decks people are popping up since a couple days ago when the new expansion came out, the new wing at least. And I'm liking more and more Death Rattle stuff. I feel like it's, you know, the thing about Argent Squire is it's very sticky. It stays out there on the board. It's a great target for something like a Defender of Argus or an Abusive Sergeant, but what's even more sticky than that a lot of the times is something with Death Rattles. So I'm kind of liking that, but I mean, this keeps the mana curve really low, so I don't think it's like a bad choice or anything like that.
It does, and I mean, it's always, you know, one of the priorities of Zoo is always to have something to play on turn 1, you know, something to get out there right away on the board. And it's interesting too, because Zoo has gotten slower as time has gone on. You know, like the combos have gotten better. I feel like the board presence have gotten better, but it's slowed down a little bit. Nerubian Eggs slow it down, you know, all that kind of stuff makes the deck go a little bit later in the game than it did before.
You know,
so
like,
do you really need the Squires?
Well, I mean,
the mana curve is nice,
still somewhat useful for sure. You know, it's funny what you said though. It has gotten kind of slower. Like, it will kill you kind of suddenly. Like, you can really, you know, if you play a lot of Hearthstone, you can feel a lot of times like turn 3 or 4, you're like, oh, this is out of control. There's no way I'm beating this Zoo deck. But you know, like, what is it, 8 months ago, like last December or so, I remember Zoo, it wasn't Zoo, it was like Aggro Warlock, we called it, because it was like a very aggressive, fast deck. But it's really turned into something else now. It's very powerful.
It's much more mid-rangey. Like, I mean, Zoo Warlock has sort of like evolved like a small dogwood, right? Like, it was in its puppy phase at first, where it's like hyper aggro, like Murlocs and stuff, just like psychotic, right? And then it's like kind of mellowed out as it's aged.
Okay,
you know,
I understand where you're going now.
All right, there we go. I don't know what
I'll
you were
accept
thinking
that.
there.
I was like, whoa, I don't know where this is going.
Don't worry, I had a plan. It worked out. It fits. It's a good analogy.
It fits well enough.
All right, well, speaking of things that fit well enough, I think Miracle is a good choice for anybody going into game number 1 of any best of, and that's what Brad's going to do. And again, pretty standard Miracle for, you know, what we see out of the new Nax cards these days.
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty standard, as you say. You know, no Cold Blood here. He is playing the Assassin's Blade, 1 Azure, Lotheb. We've been seeing that guy all over the place. Very strong. It's still a good matchup against Zoo, if you ask me. So I'm definitely saying that I'm favoring Brad here for game number 1.
Well, you can never count Miracle out against anything, right? And it is one of the better decks against Zoo. So, I mean, as far as something that'll give him a good opportunity to win the first game, I'd say it's a good choice. But I'm done talking about it. I think I'm ready to go into the first game and see who takes it, who gets that early lead. Is it going to be Tranzit? Is it going to be Brad? Let's get in the game and find out. Alright guys, here we go. Game number 1, Tranzit versus Brad. I'm so psyched about this matchup. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, let's take a look at this hand. Looks like he wants to keep just the Knife Juggler.
Yeah, I could see that.
I feel like Knife Juggler at 2 health is like so easy to kill early on.
I would consider keeping the Wolf at least, and I think he's... Yeah, I mean, if I was going to keep anything else out of that, I would keep the Wolf.
I think I would definitely throw away those 3 cards. I think... Oh, okay, he's going to keep it. Knife Juggler is my #1 pick for keeping that hand if I had to keep something, but anyways, looking at this...
He got a really good hand. I mean, it turned out well.
Yeah, no Flame Imp. I've never seen a Zoo deck that didn't have Flame Imp and Void Caller in their first hand, but okay.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Oh, wow, is he actually just going to coin out the Knife Juggler? He is, okay.
Well, that's actually... I like this a lot, because if his opponent doesn't have Backstab, then this Knife Juggler is going to cause a lot of damage.
Yeah. You know, I used to do that all the time, but lately I've been getting more scared, I guess, of Rogue, and so I've been, like, just putting out, like, I would have, like, these days, I'm afraid enough that I would have just done the Voidwalker, and then next turn Knife Juggler coined into Abusive. So you still get 3 damage done, but you also get the Knife as well.
Well,
but, yeah, there's certainly nothing wrong with pointing out the Knife Juggler. Well, it's rolling the dice. That's what Hearthstone is all about.
You know, even if you force him into a backstab, it's not that bad a situation. So I actually really
do get it out of their hand, yes.
Look at the amount of damage you can get done.
Alright.
Oh, I thought he'd use the Abusive Sergeant here. It's just more damage overall. But, you know what? He's just going to go to face and... Oh, that's a perfect job. Backstab and SI7 now.
Yeah, that worked out about as well as you could possibly hope for. Yeah.
Should be hitting the Voidwalker with this.
Yep,
and,
you can attack it with your weapon as well, and you can use the 2 damage from SI7 to take out the Knife Juggler.
This is why Miracle is good against Zoo. Look at that. The board just completely turned around.
Yeah, it was a very good start for Transit, but handled easily by Brad. Now, yeah, you would say you're just abusive this take out the SI7 agent. It's all about building the board for Zoo, and you have a 2-1 out there. Okay, he's going to drop the Wolf as well.
You got to clear as well. You know, you cannot let the Rogue player have any minions out there. They will just abuse you so heavily.
Well, that too, and then one of the biggest mistakes you see newer Zoo players making is just going to face every time, thinking that, oh, I'm aggro, I have to just always attack them. But no, I mean, Zoo is much more about board control and establishing a nice position anyway. So
you know, it can be hard against a Miracle that you do have to put that damage on. Yeah, it certainly is. And you know, he's gotten 9 points of damage through, and his hand is not looking that good. So I'm really feeling Brad right now, even though it was a nice opener by Transit. I think he played it well.
I mean, he's got this 4/4 to put out. I mean, it's nice, I guess. It's something that you would expect Miracle can handle, but if nothing else, I mean, it's something that can live. But here we go.
Ooh.
Interesting. He can still sap it if nothing else. We'll see what he gets from this prep.
Well, I think you have to sap here because you can't just give him the Gadgets on, but you know what? He gets to cycle through a couple more cards, and if his opponent doesn't, in fact, have either a Doom Guard or a Soulfire, then he's in good shape.
Yeah, and I mean, now we're kind of seeing the tricky part about this new Zoo deck, in that you can get stuck in the situation where the stuff in your hand kind of needs something on the board to work, and there's nothing on the board. So and it gets kind of dry. Yeah,
that's why sticky minions are really important with these new Zoo decks.
Yep.
Well, that's a very good draw right there. Oh my god, that's a good draw.
Yeah, this and the Fan of Knives is a pretty easy choice.
It seriously is, and like, he's just going to continue to build his board. Look at how many cards he's drawing.
He's even got Earthen Ring, man. I mean, he can even get a little bit of healing done, establish more board presence. This is like a ridiculously good game so far for Brad.
Yeah, everything's working out perfectly for him. But you know what? This is a really favored matchup for him. So, you know, if he's going to win so overwhelmingly, this is what happens sometimes.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is pretty par for the course as far as Miracle versus Zoo goes if Zoo has a slow start. And these days, I mean, there's more of a chance of that. So, so let's see, 4 mana, did use that life tap. I suppose you just got to play the Harvest Golem, huh?
Well, he needs something to stay out there, right? But
ouch, yeah.
You know, I don't know about that life tap even. I feel like I'd just be playing minions out as many as possible, because one minion can be dealt with each turn. Oh my god, look how much damage he has already.
Does he actually... Okay, I don't think he has a win quite yet.
He does.
12
he can do
plus 7 plus 8. He's got 12, 20 damage on the board, basically. Wait, no, with Deadly Poison.
He has 22.
Okay, actually, I think he does just win. Yeah, with Deadly Poison, he does.
It's exact lethal here, and
yep. That is that.
Well, that's Miracle for you right there, isn't it?
It's pretty good. Pretty good deck, I've heard.
Yeah,
it works well. So, Brad, taking game 1 in style with this Miracle Rogue deck, and our current King of the Hill already under some threat here.
That's right, and wow. Miracle Rogue, Doa.
Miracle versus Zoo. If you're afraid of Zoo on the ladder, now you know what to play there. Alright guys, well, Transit down a game to Brad. Brad's Miracle Rogue, taking out the Zoolock. Not too surprising, but Transit has come in with the hard counter. It's Backspace Rogue against Miracle Rogue. This is nearly always an auto-win.
Yeah, you know, you have to have a pretty bad draw against a pretty godly draw really to lose this.
Yeah.
And in fact, we don't even know really if Brad will mulligan correctly, because a lot of the time when someone brings out another rogue, you might just be like, oh, he's probably playing Miracle.
Well, a lot of people are okay with the Miracle Mirror match. I mean, it plays very differently than a standard Miracle Rogue game too, and it is pretty even. I mean, whether you go first or second. So yeah, you're right. The mulligan might be an issue for him.
It could be. So if he's not ready for this one in particular, especially because this one's kind of fallen off the map a bit.
Yeah.
Definitely will favor Transit even more, but already favoring him pretty heavily. And as far as the deck goes, nothing really out of the ordinary. Like, he has Lotheb in there, but I guess Lotheb's going into a lot of decks right now.
Lotheb, I mean, the thing is like, it's a 5/5 for 5, so it's so good power to cost wise. And you know, so if you've already got that makes it really considerable to begin with, and then it doesn't take that great of an ability to make it a must include in every deck. That's why we saw Sylvanas and everything. I mean, she had a great ability to boot. Lotheb has a great ability to boot. So the fact that it's so efficient, power to mana wise, like, there's really no reason not to include Lotheb in like nearly every deck.
Yeah, he's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, it's hard to find a deck that you literally don't have room for Lotheb in.
It's few and far between, but
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, you got a favorite Transit here, Doa.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's you'd be silly not to. We'll see if he can do it. I mean, we've seen Miracle beat Backspace in the past, but it's unlikely. So I've got a feeling we're gonna have a tie series after this one. But the only way to find out for sure is to watch the game. So let's do that. Game 2. Let's do it. Alright guys, game number 2, Transit trying to backspace his way into a tie match against Brad. We'll see if he can. Not the best starting hand, actually, and that's one of the keys to success for Brad, is to have his opponent getting a bad starting hand. Ooh,
certainly. And
really awkward hand, actually, for Transit.
Lepergnome's always a great one-drop.
It is, but he's going to have to draw well after that, you know?
But, I mean, the Deadly Poison, I guess, over the course of, like, 4 turns, equal out to 12 damage, but, I mean, it's definitely not a good hand. You're definitely right about that, Doa.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, in sort of, kind of on the opposite side, Brad has a okay hand. It's not like the best hand I've ever seen, but it's not like the worst either. He's got some options.
He's got some removal and stuff, and I think this is actually a really hard choice. Like, for instance,
do you backstab it? Yeah.
Do you backstab it? You could, I think, actually consider using Fan of Knives right away.
With a Fan of Knives,
like to draw in, but also you have to consider throwing out your weapon, and you have to consider throwing out the Blood Mage too, because the Blood Mage is an additional removal. Basically, you just run him into one of these 1 health minions. Your dagger like saves you a card. I think the play here is backstab, and I think I would go backstab pass.
Yeah, I mean, I think backstab is the way to go, because you minimize damage, and that's really the key to beating Backspace Rogue with Miracle, is you need to take as as less damage as possible. And if you play like the Blood Mage or something, you take a minimum of 4 right there, because he's not going to trade with your Blood Mage, right? He's going to go for face. So I like this, and it only uses 1 card from the hand, whereas, you know, the alternative would be prep Fan of Knives. So
and all right, so here it's like, do you use Prep and Fan of Knives after putting out your Blood Mage, or do you coin out Deadly Poison?
I kind of like, you know, I think he's going to go with Deadly Poison if I had to guess, but I kind of actually like the Fan of Knives play, because it gets a little bit of something on the board for you, and when it dies, you get a draw, so you can poke away maybe a turn or 2 with the Blood Mage. So I kind of like that one. It's a little bit different, but I like that one.
It is a little bit different. And in fact, he just wants to get a minion on that board, and you know, can't really fault him for this one.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine too. If his opponent trades, great. You know, that's fine. If he doesn't, then at least you've got 3 on the board. But there's a Deadly Poison.
You know, if there wasn't any Deadly Poisons, I think this play would have been much better. Just because he's not going to trade his guy in, but he might play another guy, which makes that Fan of Knives way better.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And now you're in kind of this awkward situation where it's harder to use the Thalnos Fan of Knives play. I think you I don't know if you really have to. I would actually It's tough because you could take it out with the deadly poison, right? But then you take 3 more damage. It's
Well, if you play your Blood Mage out, then he's going to have to attack with his weapon. He can't just leave a Blood Mage there, I don't think. Right? Because it makes all the spells and miracles so much better. If you do your weapon, I mean, yeah, you're going to get a couple removals, but that's now 6 damage this Fairy Drag has dealt to you.
You don't really want to be attacking minions with this, you know? I mean, it's the most card efficient thing to do, but you really need to be life efficient over card efficient, I think, in this matchup.
Well, if he wants to win, I think that this play is a little bit better because he needs to save the prep and Fan of Knives to go off with this Auctioneer in 2 turns. Because
ideally,
he needs to draw as many cards as possible. His hand is getting really weak.
Yeah. That's what usually happens against Backspace, is that you have to use so much stuff right away just to minimize the damage that you have no turns with your Auctioneer even if you draw it. That's kind of why Backspace Rogue is usually that auto-win, you know?
Well, look at this turn, though. It's so strong. Leper Gnome, plus SI7 getting comboed out, and he's going to be able to attack, which will allow him to weapon up Deadly Poison and combo out the Eviscerate next turn. That's
huge, man.
Ridiculous
so
amounts
much
of damage.
Yeah.
Oh, man. He can deal 12 damage next turn, possibly.
I mean, that's why in Korea here, they don't call it Backspace Rogue. They call it Turn 6 Rogue, because it just wins by turn 6. That's kind of what it's known by. So, it certainly looks like he's on track for that.
Just about, but you know what?
Pretty close.
With the Blade Fury, I think it's a good play. Probably throw down the Thalnos and play Blade Fury. Because you have to remove both these minions. You're getting too low already at 19. You're going to go down to 17 no matter what because of this Leper Gnome as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And there's a way to get an extra point of damage onto your opponent as well, too. Which is nice.
Ooh, a Leroy. Okay, so we're getting closer and closer right now to actual lethal.
Yep. Turn 6, man. Watch for it.
Yeah.
We're on turn 5 now. If he just goes all out damage-wise, he certainly can do turn 6 if he draws right.
Well, you are right about that. He's going to go for it, it looks like. Going straight to the face with this. Going to Eviscerate to that face as well.
Oh, yeah.
And this brings him within 1 point of lethal already for next turn.
There's literally 0 danger from Miracle right now against Transit. Like, I mean, he's got 23 health. His opponent has 3 cards in hand. There's no way that Brad can kill him.
Yeah. Well, if he doesn't kill him next turn, he loses the turn thereafter because he can just weapon up.
Exactly, yeah. Alright, well, here we go. So he's going to Shiv. Yeah, you got to go for the double draw. Maybe into a prep. There's a Fan of Knives, so that's going to be the end of the turn right there, and that's going to be the end of the game for Brad as well.
Yeah, it looks like it. Let's see what he draws. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that he could draw into. It was, I mean, yeah, he didn't quite have lethal, but again, you know, South Sea deckhand, ton of stuff you can draw into to finish somebody off, and that is it. Turn 6. Right there, perfect example of why this deck is so good against Miracle, and Transit ties up the series, 1-1. Alright guys, well we've got a tie series between Transit and Brad right now, and Brad, like, he's countering the counter basically. It's Taunted in coming out, a lot of stuff that can handle this T6 Rogue. It's as favored as Transit looked last game. I would say Brad is looking that favored this game.
Almost. Pretty like, I mean, Unstable Ghoul gonna be worth his weight in gold here.
Worth his weight in Ghoul.
Oh, duh. No. Haunted Creeper gonna be very useful. You know, there's a lot of 1 health minions over on that other side. He's got lots of taunts, as you say. You know, Senjin. He's got Sludge Belcher, which is just an amazing card defensively right now. You know, he's got a good amount of life gain too.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Holy Light, you've got the Lay on Hands, but the key to this deck, like, you know, you already mentioned, is the taunts, is getting those out early on. And I mean, the stuff like Unstable Ghoul, plus there's a Pyromancer in there, plus the fact that he's going to be drawing Consecrates, like, there's so many ways to handle really any board that Transit pulls out. So we'll see. I mean, you really can't ever say that T6 can't win because it can always kind of find a way. It is an explosive deck like that, but I think Brad's going to have to draw pretty bad to lose this one.
Yeah, I mean, you get up 2-3 taunts during the course of this game, and he has to burn through a lot of cards, especially since he's playing just 1 sap. So.
And if you think about T6 as opposed to Zoo as well, turn 6 doesn't really have the health on the minions that helps it sustain past a deck like this too. So I think it's especially vulnerable as far as aggro decks go against a Paladin deck like this.
Yeah, I think the Paladin deck definitely favored. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Leaning towards Brad, but absolutely anything can happen with a rogue deck this fast. You know, sometimes the thing about some of these aggressive decks is they're pretty darn consistent. Like almost every card he has in the whole deck just deals damage. So
yeah,
could win.
True enough. Yeah. Well, let's get into Game 3 and see who retakes the lead. Will it be Tranzit or will it be Brad? It's time to find out. Alright guys, here we are. It is Tranzit versus Brad on the iHeartU King of the Hill. They're all tied up the way I like a series, because that means we get more games.
That's right.
And let's check out these mulligans.
Alright, you know, he keeps Mukla, which can be very, very awesome, but you got to be careful because if you play Mukla down, it gets Aldor Peacekeeper. That's rough.
It's true, but I mean, if you've got the coin, I think it's an especially good keep because you can coin it out on turn 2. They really can't use the bananas too effectively early on, so it's always, I think it's always worth a try. But you're right, against Paladin, oh, he threw back the Aldor Peacekeeper.
Yeah, I generally like to keep Aldor in my opening hand against almost every deck, just because reducing. I feel like you have to really almost overextend your Paladin deck in reducing damage in the early game, because in the late game you get so far ahead through your life gain and, you know, even your big taunts.
Well, you know, a lot of people think that reducing a 3-attack minion to 1 isn't worth it with the Aldor Peacekeeper, but it really is, especially against a deck like this. It really, really is worth it.
I feel very strongly that that is the case as well.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people probably do disagree with that, then want to save it for something bigger, but I think that's useful, and of course, you got to be careful about things like Mukla and...
this guy's
you know, like...
Oh, he's going to coin out SI7. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, with nothing really on the board, there's not a lot to worry about, I suppose. We'll see what happens.
Have enough mana.
Harvest Golem.
Throw it on the Harvest Golem. Yeah,
it's going to get traded for so easily, though. I'm kind of surprised with that one.
Well, he can trade for it. Does he trade for it, though? Because he can just go to face as well.
Yeah, with turn 6 Rogue, you're more inclined to go to face, but when you're putting King Mukla out, I feel like you have to trade then, yeah.
You're absolutely right here.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we see in this case it would have been very, very useful to actually, you know, have that Aldor Peacekeeper out, but...
Yep.
Well, he's going to be able to at least kill off this guy. And this is the great thing about Mukla. Anytime you can play him on what is an empty board, which is basically what this board is at this point, so insanely powerful.
Well, even though that turn does slow Tranzit down a little bit, it's still not bad again, because he does keep both his creatures that he used to take out the Harvest Golem, too, so he didn't even need to really trade anything right then for it. So, yeah, I really like it.
This is rough, man. Now, he's going to throw down Ascension just to try to stem the flow of blood that's coming at him.
Yeah, it's not going to stop it too much, though. He's going to really have to hope that he's going to draw into a Consecrate here.
Well, let's see what his opponent draws here. Okay, he's going to go ahead and Cold Light Oracle, and, I mean, that's... Yeah, he does need a Consecration more than anyone ever did.
Well, Holy Light will give him a little bit of sustain, I suppose, too. But yeah, you really want to deal with this board. So I suppose, I mean, you could do it with a Pyromancer as well. You know, the interesting thing is,
he just doesn't.
Black Knight is not too useful for him. Too.
No, he doesn't really have anything that helps out here. He really does need either Consecration, even. I mean, a True Silver Champion I would take, and even though he's still at 25 health, which seems really high, and he has a bunch of cards in hand,
it's not going to be high for now.
It's a very slow hand, is the thing. Like, for instance, if he plays this and it hits the 1/1, sad times.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is Tranzit's just going to trade Mukla with it again, you know, I mean, because it's another way to just completely clear the board and get more damage in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if Kodo is to play here. I would be inclined... I would be inclined almost to go for... Oh, okay, he's going to go for Kodo. Okay.
I do like the Kodo. Okay, he got the 2/2. That's really important, because I would have played Assassin's Blade and used the 2/2 and Assassin's Blade to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And I still think Assassin's Blade is absolutely fantastic, because first off, you don't necessarily count on him playing a Harrison. Oh, well, actually, this is obviously fantastic.
Yeah, Lotheb is going to lock this board down.
Lotheb is always such a strong play.
Yep, and I mean, that's a good point. It does allow him to just go for face with this, too, and he brings Brad already down to 16. And, man, this is not the game I thought we were going to see, but Brad got a really slow hand, and throwing back that Aldor Peacekeeper really hurting him, because imagine if he could have played, like, that and the Haunted Creeper or something, you know? I mean, that's a little bit of board presence. That's what you need.
Yeah, but, you know, he's got his way to do it, and it looks like he has to play well. Not going to play a 6-mana banana.
Yeah, 6-mana banana. It's a great band name, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like a children's band or something. I don't know. Not my kind of band.
Well, this is so much damage that can just go to face here.
Yeah,
and the counter Lotheb is important, because imagine if he played this Assassin's Blade plus the Deadly Poison, like...
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So what do you do here? Do you just go for face, or do you trade?
To be honest, though, I think you go for face.
I think you've got him low enough
because he has to trade the 5/5 and your 5/5, right? Like, there's no reason to remove it.
You're really, that's the thing is when you have the tempo advantage like this, they have to deal with your minions. You don't have to deal with theirs. And man, it's really hard to imagine Brad winning this one. He almost has to Holy Light because he's in range to die from Eviscerate now. So I feel like you have to heal this turn.
I would love to see Holy Light attack with Loatheb into face, and you know. You play Equality. Wait, no. Well, Equality after attacking into face. Play the Pyro, heal yourself. It keeps the Pyro out on the board, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Still wipes everything through.
I think that's a really good play.
Or actually, no, that's silly. He can actually 5/5 into the 5/5. Yeah, like he can actually play the Pyro.
Yeah, you play the Pyro.
And then heal himself and give the banana. And he only needs 1 point of damage there. To get through. Actually, there's a million ways better than Equality right now.
I think maybe you would Equality first, then you would Banana Loatheb, then you would Pyro into heal yourself because Loatheb would live through it, and then you can kill everything else.
I like this move right here, right? Because now he just heals himself and he clears that board, and he's got a 7/1 out, which is pretty scary. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Can't leave that out for too long, and at 10 health, maybe he lives through the next turn.
Maybe. We'll see.
Well, we can see he doesn't.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true. Maybe he thinks he does, but we know it won't happen.
He can actually deal like 18 damage this turn or something. It's insane.
He's got way more. So, I mean, Tranzit's deck a little bit slower this time. Turn 7 instead of turn 6. So, I don't know. This deck is losing steam, I guess. But good enough anyway to beat Brad. Wow. Crazy stuff. Tranzit goes up 2-1. Alright guys, well Tranzit, our reigning King of the Hill here on iHeartU, has gone up 2-1 against Brad and winning that unlikely matchup of Aggro Rogue against Tauntaudin. I mean, Brad, what can you say? He had a slow hand, maybe he kind of misread the Rogue in the mulligan, or no, actually he knew from last game, so never mind. Throwing back the Peacekeeper was a little bit surprising. Could have ended up using it.
He was definitely thinking about it both ways. I think he just wanted some additional early game, maybe Consecration or True Silver Champion he was probably looking for.
Hindsight is always 20/20, and I mean, there's only one Mukla in the deck, so you can't like play around it too much.
Of course. I mean, we can't really fault him for his plays that game, but you know, them's the apples, and here we are with this Aggro Rogue taking down two very different but very powerful decks, and now he's bringing out a Handlock.
I think Handlock is a great choice. I mean, it's hard to ever really argue with Handlock as a deck choice against nearly everything. It's still as solid as it's ever been. And I mean, this is a good iteration of it. You know, you've got Loatheb in there, 2 Sludge Belchers, fantastic card against any sort of aggressive deck and really any deck in general. But what's interesting is that we've got the one Shadow Bolt in there. It's something that pops up every once in a while, but I haven't personally seen it in Handlock for a long time.
I think it's just a little bit more removal against something like a Zoo deck, and just in general, you know, we have so many stickier minions to just have that extra 4 damage.
Well, if you think about the strength of like Shaman these days and the health totals on Zoo minions these days, you do need a little bit more power to take out some of those minions than you did before. So I think you're absolutely right. I think that's why we see it, and you know, thinking about it now more, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more.
You know what's also interesting is we see Acidic Swampoo's in here.
Yeah.
Fun to see that card coming back.
He's getting into the Korean, the Asian server spirit of things because, man, they love to put Swampoos in like everything they can.
Even when it wasn't really necessarily a great call, they were using it a lot still. It's a very valuable card, and in this game, it definitely could be big against an Assassin's Blade or even just a dagger with a Deadly Poison charge. Very, very good move. So
certainly could. I mean, you could argue that Brad has a good chance to win the game, but then again, he did last game too. So it's
I mean, if he doesn't get the right start, Tranzit could run over him. Like for instance, if he doesn't draw his taunt guys, that could be rough. His taunt givers especially, and you know, those Molten Giants could come in handy because it can be hard for this rogue deck to actually just get through those last points of damage. It doesn't have a lot of direct damage, it's a lot of minion attacks. So if you have big taunts up, it won't necessarily be able to remove them easily.
Well, you really have to draw into something like a Sap, Eviscerate, Blade Flurry, that kind of stuff. I mean, in a certain sense, when you play this deck against Handlock, you can kind of sort of go no fear mode and just go 100% to space, to a face rather, and then count on drawing into something. But it is a little bit risky. It always is, because I mean, what if they draw a Siphon Soul or an Earthen Ring Farseer or something like that, you know, and then heal up that 3 points of damage can make such a big difference after they get out the big Molten Giant taunt stuff. So we'll see.
Who do you think takes this one down, Doa?
I think it's, honestly, like, I think it's impossible to call at this point. A handlock, I like it against T6 Rogue overall, but you can never deny that we could see just exactly what we saw last game, which is where T6 gets a great hand, gets off the bat right away, moves fast, and kind of does what it's made to do. So I think it's hard to call.
Okay, I'm going to go with Brad here, I have to say. I think he has enough taunts. I think he has enough removal and enough life gain, and of course those Molten Giants coming down when he gets low.
I think
a real backbreaker. So I'm leaning towards Brad being able to take this one.
I think on paper you can't help but agree with that. I mean, and on paper there's a lot of decks that should beat turn 6 Rogue, but when you get into the game, it's a completely different story sometimes. So we'll see, can Brad tie it up, or will Transit take an even bigger lead? Let's get in the game and find out. Alright guys, it's time for game 4. Yeah, I guess that's just how it goes. And so turn 6 Rogue against Handlock again. And I gotta say, I always love Handlock. It's one of my favorite decks. It might actually be my favorite deck ever in Hearthstone. I would say maybe I can think of a few others that come close, but Handlock is just always a good go-to anytime. So we'll see if Brad can tie up the series. He's got a good chance.
I do gotta say, I'd really like to see him keep this SI7 agent.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not. You do need stuff on the board early on.
He's blindly countering Handlock here. He's saying, no, this is not a zoo deck by keeping the sap and throwing away the other one, which is kind of funny because I've seen Brad recently in tournaments play zoo, so kind of a bold assumption here, but...
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where Transit probably, like we said, isn't familiar with Brad or his, play style, so... yeah, just kind of making an assumption based on kind of the game in general, I guess. And, wow, just drops that South Sea deckhand right off the bat.
And, all right, let's see what Brad's choice is here. Like, do you go ahead and just life tap? Well, I guess you do go ahead and life tap. It looks like he wants to save the Sun Fury, force some taunting, which I guess is actually fine here.
I like that better. I mean, the reason you can do that is because you've got the Earthen Ring Farseer in your hand, so even if he does another couple damage this turn, you can heal most of it up. You can get a 3/3 on the board, so...
Certainly.
It's awkward, but I think it's okay. I think he can hold out for, like, this one turn. Like, Molten Giant,
oh boy.
That's a tough choice now. I think you still play the Earthen Ring.
I think you have to stem the flow because... you might just randomly die if you get too greedy here.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that you're going to be taking damage fast enough that I don't think Brad has to worry about whether or not he's going to be able to play that Molten Giant quickly.
Well, he's actually going to go ahead and draw, and you know
so
what?
Greedy.
Fantastic draw, though.
Yeah.
Fantastic draw right there.
It worked out, but a big risk against turn 6.
Yeah.
That's a minimum of 4 damage on the board. Looks like it's going to be 5 in total. Or, no, actually 7 in total because there's a deadly poison as well. Wow.
It does go so fast.
Ouch.
You know what? He does have this Ancient Watcher. He definitely can get some taunts going on that board.
He's going to have a big taunt turn, but keep in mind that sap is still in Transit's hand.
Yeah.
And, like, he's doing enough damage that one sap might actually be all he needs. Crazy enough.
Yeah, I mean, he can deal 11 damage next turn with that sap, getting rid of a taunt, so that's, like, a lot more than you would expect.
Well, he's not going to even need to use the... Do you think he's going to play a taunt this turn? Yeah. I think you kind of have to, but...
He's either going to play a taunt or the Earth Ring. I think Earth Ring is a really weak play compared to a big taunt.
Yeah. You're already at 17.
But the Earth Ring might save you, like, 6 damage. I mean, there's arguments for the Earth Ring here, I think. Because you do have to worry about a sap possibly hitting any taunt that you put out.
Yeah, still though. I mean, he's got the Defender of Argus, so I say you taunt now, and then if it gets sapped, you're going to take the damage where you can probably Defender into Molten Giant next turn. So no.
Wow.
What? Wow, that...
Okay, this is...
He's trying to set up a double taunt turn with Molten and Defender of Argus, I think, but... that's so risky, man.
Low theft.
Oh, man. Well, it doesn't hurt Defender, I guess, but...
Well, no spells. Okay, so I guess that just means he can't use a Shadow Flame or something like that.
Oh, Transit leaves him at 15, too. I think you just drop a Sludge Belcher here. But do you instead...
Gotta agree with you on that, though.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're going to have to trade at least 2 creatures for it if they don't attack with a weapon. I think you'd attack with a weapon for the second one.
I could see him healing himself and giving double taunt.
Oh, yeah, I like that, too.
I think that's okay, but I think the Sludge Belcher's a bit better. You have 2 of them in your hand, and it is a double taunt.
I think you're going to get maybe a little bit more board clear out of the Sludge Belcher. It's hard to say. I mean, because it's hard to say what's in their hand, too, you know?
Yeah.
I think 2 taunts is safer.
Okay.
And you get to heal. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I cannot say anything negative about this. So let's see how he ends up dealing with this. Of course, he can remove both of these without too much trouble here.
Yeah, okay, what's he got in his hand? I think you save the sap here, because you don't need it. I think you just...
You think you just clear the board without sap?
Yeah, I would trade Lothep into the 4-5, and then Weapon into the 3-3, and then still go through for 4. And then as far as what you play from your hand, you don't need to be too scared of giving the mana at this point.
Yeah, it just, how low are you willing to get them, I guess?
I would go all out, man. This is turn 6 rogue. This is also
turn 6 is coming up.
This is also Doa talking too, so like I will generally go for the aggressive play.
By the way, he can Shadow Step Lothep.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point.
That's kind of a very cool
Oh,
play.
that's neat. I feel like it's not as effective against Handlock, because they're not
you're
so
right,
spell reliant, but it's interesting.
It looks like he does want to do it. I like it,
cool.
man. Like,
yeah, that's neat. That's neat.
I've been thinking a lot of how to do things like this Lothep. I didn't think of Shadow Step too much, but of course I'm a stupid Paladin player. I think of the pandas all the time.
Stupid Paladin player.
Yeah. Looks like you know, he does prevent additional spells from being played. Has to be careful about how low he gets him.
14 is on the risky side of okay, but it's much more okay with that Lothep Shadow Step. So he's setting himself up for a win here. He's trying to anyway.
Yeah, and this is great move. Look at this. If he attacks that Leprechaun, then he actually gets to play this guy and set up double taunts.
Yep.
But we do have a sap in hand.
Yeah, we do, and that's going to be the big thing. So does he have enough to kill him right now?
No.
12? Let's see.
Doesn't. Wait. Oh, he has.
Oh, he got the eviscerate though.
Oh, not anymore though, because he uses sap. So.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine though. He just continues to build a huge board, and I mean, this is like 8 damage he gets to deal.
Yeah. And now you have enough direct damage with SI7 and Eviscerate that you can probably finish them off unless they heal. And a lot of people have only been running 1 Siphon Soul, and he already did see one of the Earthen Rings too. So I think this is a very good calculated risk. Yeah,
yeah, this is like so easy to finish him off at this point.
No Siphon Soul, you're dead. GG. Wow. Craziness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly, like, T6, I think I would give T6 a little bit more of an advantage over this deck than over that last Paladin deck. Like, I think the fact that the Paladin deck lost last game is kind of the real shocker here. Handlock is good against T6, but, you know, again, if the direct damage gets drawn, you got to worry about it. Like, he can play all the taunts in the world, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. He doesn't, you know, this is the only taunt he actually has. So, ugh.
Yep.
He has to be looking at this and saying, well, I'm probably dead, right? Like, there's very few cans that he could have right now that, you know, wouldn't kill me, so.
Yeah, you can't give up. Like, you have to play it out.
Yeah.
You have to play it out. But, yeah, we know that he's dead, and yeah, just the Eviscerate, not even bothering to combo it out.
Yep.
There you go, 2 damage, and Tranzit puts himself 1 game away from becoming a 2-time champion on the I Hearth You King of the Hill. Wow. Alright guys, well Brad in dire straits, man. He has to win this game or it is over for him. Tranzit 1 game away from becoming a 2-time I Hearth You King of the Hill champion.
Yeah, this is
tough stuff.
Rough. This is not the situation that you want to be in for poor Brad. He's on his very last deck, and it's hard to imagine that a kind of mid-rangey Hunter deck is going to 3-0 here, but that was not the easiest thing to imagine with the T6 Rogue either. So let's take a look at this Hunter deck and what he's got in. Of course, he's got the Web Spinners in, the Haunted Creepers. Those are a big addition people are using nowadays.
Web Spinners are so fun, by the way. They're like one of the most
I love
fun
when they get
cards,
Angry Chicken.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I prefer them when they get the Beast, personally, but I have gotten, like, Captain's Parrot, Angry Chicken, and all that. It is kind of funny when you...
You gotta play 1 pirate in a
That's
Hunter
true.
Deck now
That's
to
now
make
you
sure
need
if
the
you
pirate.
get
Yeah, somewhere out there at Chober is like, yes, Pirate Hunter Beast. Yeah, but yeah, what if you? I mean, Houndmaster the Angry Chicken could be pretty solid.
Pretty sick play right there.
Yeah, 9 damage chicken coming at you.
Yeah, some of the other cards he has in here: a Sludge Belcher, a Lotheb. He's got like 3 traps total. 2 explosive and a freezing. I mean, obviously those are going to be pretty useful against Tranzit deck.
Definitely,
so
definitely.
He has a shot at taking this down for sure.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing with Explosive Trap against T6 Rogue is that it's not as useful as you would think it would be, because T6 Rogue is aggressive, but it doesn't usually have very many minions on the board, so you're not going to be killing a whole lot with Explosive Trap, actually, which is kind of a weird situation when you think about it, but I think Freezing Trap is really going to be premium, and the fact that he only has one of those is kind of rough. But I mean, I think if you're playing this into a Backspace Rogue, you're already in a kind of rough situation anyway, but we'll see if he can do it. I mean, it's one of those decks, too, where it's like, can you really see it winning multiple games in a row after this, too? So, yeah.
Well, I guess
that's gonna be tough.
We'll have to see. It's a well-constructed deck. The Sludge Belcher really kind of interesting to me, but definitely could help in this matchup, Doa.
I think it's good in this case, yeah, for sure. So let's get into the game and see if it is our final game of the night. I hope it's not, but Brad, either way, it's a must-win situation. Let's get into game number 5. And here we go, guys. It is do or die time on the I Heart You King of the Hill. Brad fighting for his life against Tranzit. He's down 3-1. He needs to win this one or it's over, and he's going to mulligan his whole hand. I can't blame him either. Maybe keep the bow, but no, I would mulligan it because you don't want to be attacking the minions anyway. That bow is just not that great.
Yeah, nothing in his hand super synergistic or super good against that deck. So
yeah.
Let's see what he gets. And this, I would say, is a better hand. He definitely has a lot of removal in here in the form of Unleash the Hounds and that Haunted Creeper. And of course, a tracking to find whatever it is that he's missing.
Now, do you coin out the Haunted Creeper in turn 1? Oh, never mind. I think you just play Web Spinner. Yeah, that's never mind. Forget that whole thing. When you draw Web Spinner, you play Web Spinner.
You play Web Spinner, and you hope you get something really awesome from him.
Yeah, the first rule of Web Spinner Club is you play Web Spinner.
Yeah. Well, let's see what he gets. Yeah, you have to hit that, obviously.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah. Oh, the beast! It's the beast. Nice.
Is this an easy win or an easy win,
well, we'll see. I mean, I don't think any win is easy against Backspace Rogue, but the beast certainly helps, unless he gets killed by a 3/3 Finkel Einhorn or whatever. Though that's the question.
Well, all right.
Good old Upper Blackrock Spire. That's the raid / instance that the beast is from. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Beast. I don't know if we'll see him come out this game, to be honest, though. He's so expensive. But
well, he's only 6. He's not... that's not that bad.
Still, I mean...
He'll get out right before he dies.
Well,
do you unleash here? He's got 2 in his hand. I'd be kind of tempted to do it.
He has a 1/2 out right now, which does count as a beast as well.
Yeah.
If he draws into a Houndmaster, he does need something put on. Thing is, he can use like his weapon in this case. With 2 Unleash, like you don't need to unleash.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a perfect time to use it. I mean, it clears the board.
Yeah, and leaves him a couple minions out. So
I would leave the Hound out because even though they're both at 1/1, and you'd be like, well, doesn't that leave you vulnerable to Fan of Knives? I would say no because you're going to get 2 more 1/1s out of it anyway.
Especially when your opponent isn't playing Fan of Knives.
Oh well, that also helps too. I mean, I guess you never know. Fan of Knives is not common in Backspace Rogue, but
yeah, I mean, it's been in plenty of Tempo Rogues.
I just like to consider all the options.
Looks like, oh my god, is he actually going to Blade Fury here? Oh, I guess he is. Oh, I wasn't expecting that, but alright. I guess it makes sense. He doesn't want to have all these minions out that can remove his stuff.
Yeah, doesn't want the chance of a Houndmaster giving some taunt. That's just a pain to get through.
That's a nice draw.
Into Sludge Belcher. That is such a nice draw, you're right.
Yeah, I really like that coming out right now.
Yeah. He's got a lot of good options for next turn, too, now.
Indeed. You know, he has that Eaglehorn bow. He can start putting on some massive damage to his opponent.
I think he's just tracking first, see what you get.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh, Houndmaster. Oh, Savannah Highmane. That is 2 nice draws for Brad, actually.
Yeah, beat it.
Well, looks like we do have some minions out there he's going to have to end up dealing with.
Yeah. Well, Houndmaster's not going to be helpful. I would be... Okay. Don't want to use that second Unleash just yet. The Explosive Trap, I think, is pretty nice here.
Yeah, I think I would grab the Explosive Trap. Of course, Houndmaster is a card that you kind of want as well.
Yeah,
but
you've already got one.
He doesn't have the setup for it, really. Like, he doesn't even have any good beast play. And having one already, as you say, that's... I think the Explosive Trap is pretty obvious here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the option of a board clear right there, and he can still tracking before he plays it, too, and sees what he draws.
I think this turn, he'll... Ooh,
Buzzard,
yeah, the Buzzard for sure. And
Buzzard.
I think you play Eaglehorn Bow this turn, to be honest.
Instead of the trap?
Yeah.
I mean,
think you play
they're
this
not going to...
move a 2/2.
Yeah, they're not going to get through to face, I suppose, so...
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to get through this turn, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, removing this guy is perfect because you don't want them to be able to Shadow Step it.
Always remove the Murloc first in any situation. That's kind of the... It's a good rule to live by, you know?
Indeed.
I'm not saying there's any war leaders around, but still, you're right. Shadow stepping it for the draw? Yeah, don't want that to happen.
Well, it looks like he's going to go ahead and combo this Eviscerate. It's going to allow him to remove the little Slime Taunter as well with this 2-1.
Clear. Yep.
Yeah, just continue to build his board up. But you know what? He's really slowed everything down this game.
Yeah.
You know, Brad has done a good job with this.
This Hunter deck has done exactly what it's supposed to do, and now he's got the Explosive Trap he can play. It's going to prevent him from playing any beasts, unfortunately. Oh, he's still going to... Okay, I guess you get Unleashed too.
Yeah, you don't... Best.
Okay.
I think it is, because you know what?
Yeah,
don't
I forgot
be over greedy.
The buzzard.
Draw a couple cards, remove both minions, and you know what? Save the Explosive Trap for a little bit later on, like so that it can catch something better, like an Arcane Golem or like a Leroy, which at this high health he probably wouldn't play.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot the buzzard. There we go. Okay. Nice turn for Brad. So what does Transit have? He's got that Arcane Golem for a little bit of damage out there. He's certainly got some burst, but not a lot of great options. Oh, actually, never mind. Wow.
Is he actually playing Leroy here?
I guess so.
Well, that gives his opponent a couple more tokens. I mean, yeah, it puts more damage down. This is a super aggressive play, and this actually sets up a lethal for next turn.
He's going to Shadow Step it and bring it right back to his hand, too, yeah.
So this is the turn for Explosive Trap.
Yes, Explosive Trap and possibly also Houndmaster.
Yeah, in fact, Explosive Trap won't do it. He needs Freezing Trap, now that I think about it, right? Because...
well, Leroy only has 2 health, so... And in fact, anything
but he can trigger it with his sword.
Oh, yeah, of course.
His weapon, so I think a Freezing Trap is super important here.
Some sort of trap, and I like the idea of playing the Houndmaster as well, too, just to kind of give yourself one extra layer of defense.
He still kills him at 8 mana. It's easy. He just plays the Arcane Golem first. There's actually...
Oh, yeah.
But wait, if he has to give Taunt... The only play that allows him to live is giving Taunt to this 2-1.
Yeah.
And playing Freezing Trap, I believe. I believe that is the only way that he can live, right? Because Cold Blood plus Leroy plus the attack is 13. And then you can trigger off the trap with the 4-2.
Yeah.
So that gets rid of the sap. Yeah, he doesn't. 5, 6, 7. Oh wait, no, he still has enough mana.
He's still going to be vulnerable.
He's dead.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, Transit, if he plays this turn right, which isn't very hard, does win.
Not too tough. Yeah, Arcane Golem first.
Yeah.
And then the Leroy Sap. Yep, you're right.
Oh boy.
I think you're right. Arcane Golem first. Yep, there we go. Have a mana crystal.
Okay, wait.
See if I care.
All right.
Trap, yeah.
So the way he was like playing the cards, it's not timed out perfectly. I mean, did he play both at once? That is the worst play I've ever seen.
It's always a little bit tough to see. Yeah. Yep, because the hand cam is always a bit less. There it is. Well played from Brad, and Transit will take the match 4-1. Man, the aggression of the Asian server storming into the King of the Hill and taking 2 weeks in a row. Pretty cool stuff. Wow, so that is it, guys. Transit from Team Golden Coin takes down Don't Kick My Robots Brad 4-1. The Backspace Rogue, the Turn 6 Rogue. Not something we see too often in the Western scene, but it is still very much alive and well in Asia and did very well today.
Well, he always had what he needed there to finish the games off. Did a lot of damage to the face very quickly. I mean, this is a very quick King of the Hill for us, Doe. One of the quickest we've had.
This is.
Yeah, so, weird. You know, I guess that's just the way that the cards fall for Transit this week.
It's the heart of the cards.
Well. Yeah.
So that's it. It's cool though. It's cool to see another region representing itself well. That's right. You know, and I mean, of course, like I'm actually on Team Golden Coin now. In case you didn't know, I joined their team last week, I think it was, and so I'm a little bit happy to see Transit win as well. Like I make sure that they don't spoil the results for the match before I watch this and casting with you. So I didn't know it was going to happen. Yeah. So I'm a little bit happy to see that too as well. I admit some bias there. But either way, cool series. Neat to see some decks we don't see very often come in and do well. But we'll have to see who we're going to bring against Transit next week and see if someone can knock him off the seat for the IRThu King of the Hill. I don't think we're in for another 9-win run from somebody, but
I don't think so.
It's a good run already for Transit.
I think that the next person coming in has to play a bit more anti-aggro.
Yeah, I agree.
We need to see some more defensive decks. So we'll see if whoever is playing next week is going to be able to, play the right decks to be able to actually take them out.
Yep, well, that's going to do it for us this week for the IRThu King of the Hill, guys. Doa and Artosis here in Seoul, South Korea. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.